So what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another vlog. In today's vlog, we are going to discuss something that I think is one of the most amazing things that you can use to invest in real estate, and that is a land trust. Now, some of you might not know what a land trust is or what you can use it for, or the types of things that you can do with a land trust. I'm going to share you exactly what a land trust is and how you can use it to invest in real estate. Now, to start off, what is a land trust? A land trust is a document that is either created by an attorney or you can buy a template online. And basically in that template or in that document, it outlines who owns the land trust, what the land trust is being used for, and what type of property is held inside the land trust, and what property is held inside the land trust, and who owns those properties. It also outlines a trustee of the document, meaning somebody that we put in charge to be able to point the finger and say, yeah, Bob over there, or Dan, owns that property and he is the beneficiary of this land trust. Land trusts are not something new. This is a very old document and it's really cool how you're able to use it. One of the ways that you can use it is you can buy properties with it. So like, let's say I wanted to buy 5 properties and I don't want to put them in an LLC. Well, I can put them in a land trust, and inside the land trust, it outlines who owns the property, but I never have to file that document with the courthouse showing the land trust documents. So what that does is it gives me a sense of anonymity where I don't have to disclose that I'm the owner of this property, and nobody sees the land trust documents because I have the only copy. So what that does is if I'm sued in any reason, or somebody decides that they want to sue me, if they look up the properties I own none. I don't own any companies that own any properties because they're all owned within the land trust. So you see how that could help you out in a situation where maybe you have a lot of assets and you want to be able to hide those assets, that way people don't come and randomly sue you. I have had that happen before, not to me personally, but I know some of my family members who have actually been the victim of people that are serial suers, is what you basically would call them, where they basically go out to your place of business or place of work and find a reason to sue you. Either they'll pretend to slip and fall, or they'll have some type of grievance with you one way or another where they can try and sue you. So I want to avoid that as much as possible. I want somebody to look me up and be like, man, his net worth is 0, because that's going to help me out in case somebody just wants to randomly sue me for whatever reason. Now, of course, if something is my fault, I am definitely going to take ownership of something that I've done wrong and pay the price of whatever it is. I'm not going to pay the price for something that is definitely not my fault. Okay? And we'll talk about that later. I'm going to share some other information with you guys, and please don't hold this against me, but use this as your own risk. Also consult with an attorney or somebody else that might be knowledgeable about land trusts. And the reason why I say that is I don't want you guys to go ahead and put your properties in a land trust and then come back at me later and be like, hey, Dan, you told me that this was going to work like this and it didn't work out like that. It's totally up to you guys to do your own due diligence on how a land trust works, and also, you know, the pitfalls, the positives and negatives for it. I don't know what laws there are against land trusts in the United States, but I know that they're used all the time, and I use them all the time to invest in real estate. Now, one of the other cool things about land trusts is, since we talked about the whole thing on anonymity, one of the best things about anonymity is that, let's say you want to buy a property subject to the existing mortgage. Now, I've talked about sub-2s before. I've bought a few properties sub-2s. I even have a few videos about a property that I bought subject to the existing mortgage. And basically what you can do is, whenever there is a sale of a property, that sale is recorded in public records and says, hey, this property switched ownership. Now, if somebody wanted to sell me a property that had a mortgage attached to it and I bought that property, I would then be triggering a due on sale clause that would trigger the mortgage to be due on the sale of the property. It doesn't matter if you deed it over into an individual or an LLC, you will trigger this due on sale clause and catch the bank's attention. Now, will they follow through on the due on sale clause? Maybe, maybe not. It's kind of like, toss of a coin. But at any time, any moment in time, any property that you own, you can deed it over into a land trust, and it will not trigger that due on sale clause, because you can move your property into a trust at any time, because a trust is not only used for buying and selling property. It is also used for asset protection, and also used for, in case you die, it shows who the ownership of the property will go to. That way you don't have to outline it in a will. It doesn't have to go to probate. There's a document already out there that shows who will be the beneficiary of this property when you die. That's why it doesn't really trigger that due on sale clause. Now, the cool thing about it is that when you take over the property subject to the existing mortgage, and you go around the due on sale clause by deeding it into a trust and then taking over the mortgage, it gives you the ability to buy the property without having to trigger that due on sale clause. And also, you're not showing everybody, hey, I own this property, which is great. Now, there is some other stuff behind that. Of course, if you take a property over subject to, and you stop paying on the mortgage, the mortgage company can't come after you, and you could be held liable in court if you don't pay that mortgage, because it is not like you're signing up for a mortgage and you get a house and you lose it. That's just debt that you inquire onto your credit report and ruin your credit. This situation is you are promising to pay that mortgage at all costs or give the property back to the person. If you don't pay that property, or if you don't pay that mortgage, you could be labeled as defrauding that person out of that house, and you can go to jail for it. It's a felony. So definitely take any properties out over subject to, and you buy it in a land trust, you cannot escape the mortgage. They can still come after it. More about subject twos in another video. So you have that ability to buy properties with it. The other cool thing is, let's say you buy 5 properties and you decide that you want to sell those properties. You don't have to have 5 separate closings or have to really record a deed. You could literally just change ownership of the land trust over into the new owner. So like, let's say if I want to sell it over to my buddy Bob, all I got to do is go with the land trust documents. We'll create some new land trust documents, and the trustee will point the finger and say, yeah, Dan transferred his beneficial interest in the land trust over to Bob. So now Bob is the rightful owner of this property. And of course, you can change trustees at any time. There's documents out there on how to do that. Really great way to sell property, and you could avoid having to go to a closing table. You could literally just tell Bob, hey Bob, here's my land trust documents. I got no, he could do a title search for about $200-300, and you can just transfer the ownership of the trust like this. Now, one of my favorite ways to use a land trust, and it is definitely something that I love to death, and that is buying short sales in a land trust. Now, if you don't know already, when you buy a short sale, or you buy a property that is a short sale from the bank or a mortgage company or whoever they typically put a deed restriction on the deed saying that after you buy it, you can't sell it or resell it within 30 to 90 days. Everybody has their own certain time frame on when you can sell the property, how much you can make on it, what type of profits you can make on it within a certain time period, which kind of restricts your ability to wholesale the property. Now, the cool thing is, when you use a land trust, you're not selling the property itself. You are selling the investment vehicle that owns the property. In a sense, the property's not changing hands. The trust is changing hands. The investment vehicle can't change hands within a certain time period. It only says the property can't change hands within a certain time period. So what that means is that you could sell the land trust at any time and change the beneficial interest of the land trust over to somebody else for money, and it doesn't matter how much money you make, because the deed is still staying in the same name. It's not changing names, only the trust is. So what that does is it gave us the ability to do short sales, and we can wholesale those short sales, because at the closing table, we can basically close on it with the land trust, and then we can go ahead and take that trust and sell the beneficial interest of the trust over to the end buyer, basically eliminating that whole deed restriction where we wouldn't be able to sell the property. Now, of course, that is an advanced investing technique, and you definitely want to have a good attorney to be able to set that up for you, because it's not something that I would do on my own. I didn't do it on my own. I had my attorney do all of it, and we basically outlined what we wanted to do with the land trust and how we wanted to sell the property. So those are some great ways that you can use a land trust. And a land trust, in my opinion, if you don't own your properties in a land trust, you are putting yourself out there with unneeded risk at the possibility of being sued, or people just basically coming after you randomly because you own property. Now, if you look at some of the biggest names in investments and also even companies, the majority of them either use an LLC that doesn't register their members, such as Wyoming, Nevada, or Delaware, or they use a land trust. That way they can easily assign over the interest in the property to somebody else and also help get rid of some tax burdens. I am not a tax consultant, and I'm not giving you any type of tax advice, but that is some ways that you can try to lessen your tax burden. Again, talk to a CPA, a qualified CPA, in order to really understand how that works. But those are some of the ways that I've used a land trust. I have definitely, every property I own is in a land trust or is owned by a land trust that owns multiple properties. That way, whenever we want to sell those properties, it makes it a whole lot easier, and all you got to do is just basically sell the land trust. And that's pretty much it. That's land trust in a nutshell. If you have any questions about it, shoot me some comments down below. You can also hit me up on Instagram, Dan.Buys.Houses. That way you could get a little bit more of a in-depth understanding on how a land trust works. And if you need some land trust documents, hit me up as well. I'll send them to you, or I'll probably put them in the video description down below. That way you are able to access those land trust documents and put your own properties on land trust. So that's it for now, guys. Hope you guys found this video beneficial. If you did, let me know. Comments below, shoot me some likes, share it with people that might benefit from this knowledge, and I'll catch you guys on the next vlog.